Phil Loadholt, offensive line coach at Colorado. They brought him in this offseason along with Seed and other, new additions to the offensive line. I want to discuss his impact. You know him personally and stuff, him coming from Oklahoma. I wanted you to discuss his impact and how you think he'll improve Colorado's offensive line.
So, look, Coach Loadholt is a guy who only played tackle. I mean, he's 6'9". Yeah. So it's not like he's an interior player, but he didn't need to be. Again, he played with great players at Oklahoma. Look, I'm not going to sit here and mash on Coach O'Brien. He was awesome. He's the head O-line coach at Northwestern now. He's been a coach forever. It just wasn't a good fit for him last year here. Mm-hmm. He didn't really have much of a say. He didn't have a bunch of his guys, or he had some of his guys in from Kent State. Those guys from Kent State did not adapt well to the offensive line or adjustments and schemes that we needed to do in Boulder. And then the players that they were playing week in and week out, there's a reason they went out and restocked the entire line other than Zelinkas. I think Savion Washington, Savion went to Syracuse, good fit. I mean, at least I think it is. He likes it. You had Tank and Wells both going to Oregon State to play for their old coach, Kyle DeVan, who was at CU the 1-11 season. Both good players, just weren't good fits in this system. So you bring in these new cats, and now they get an opportunity to go learn under Loadholt, surrounded by great skill players. Like, look, that means every time somebody comes to see Shador, all right, and Travis Hunter play, they're watching the offensive line play as well. Now, look, pass rush in fucking T-shirts is interesting. It's hard, but it's good to move your feet and go out and work. I don't care who wins or loses these reps. It's about just footwork and mechanics and shit. It's really easy to run pass rush and win one-on-ones in pass rush. It's a defensive drill. If you can't win there, you're a bum. But I will, on the field, when we can run the ball at you and run play action and screens and all these different things, it's much different if you can actually produce pressure and sack the quarterback during live play. Like my senior year at CU, I had 25 pressures and 9 sacks at 3 technique. So that's hard. That's putting fucking numbers up. Shit. So I don't if I can't win a rep in one-on-ones because I'm trying shit out, that's one thing. But when you put me on the field and I know I'm one-on-one and we're in a rush situation, I'm getting it, period. So that's what I'm looking for from the defensive lineman. From the offensive lineman, it's just being able to take the tutelage and the tools that Loadholt gives you and actually apply them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Don't just look good in practice. We can't go out to practice every day, every week, and just try and stack practices and be like, oh, we did a great job. Everything has to be fucking, how do we progress? How do we lose in practice to learn so we can fix it the next day, to lose again to learn, to fix it the next day, so on and so forth. So when we get to Saturday, we're not over on the sideline at the end of the first quarter with a whiteboard going, what the fuck? We didn't see this. Yeah. And I'm going to tell a story here, and I've never told this story on live or anything before, but I will now because who gives a shit. When the Buffs were, I think it was right before they went 1-11. So was it Mel Tucker's year? Yeah, it was Mel Tucker's first season. Because right after Mel was, or no, it was Darrell. Excuse me. So really, yeah. So they really had 4 black coaches. So I was wrong on that. So it was Darrell, right? We were playing SC at home. Mm-hmm. Carl Darrell was the head coach. We were underachieving bad. Okay. And, Casey Roddick was starting at left guard. Jake Wiley was starting at right tackle, 2 guys that I work with a lot. Tank was on that team, but I don't think he was starting. And I was on the sideline with my boy Lawrence Vickers, and we're just out there watching the game and trying to get them going and shit. But we're not coaches or players. We're trying to not interfere in the fucking 1s and 2s, right? But again, I work with a ton of the guys on the team. They all know me. I'm in the locker room. There's definitely rapport here, and we can talk to each other. Mm-hmm. I always tell them, if you need any help, just pick up the phone. So we're in the middle of the fucking first quarter, and they're lined up in even double 3s, double 5s, and they're mugging the mic on the center and dropping them off. And we're getting butchered because we don't know how to pass off the game. We're not shelving the 3 technique, so they roll around. And so Casey and Jake walk up to me after we go 3 and out, punt the ball, and they're like, we have this coach named Mitch Rodrigue, who is one of the worst offensive line coaches, other than that great big fat fuck from the Browns. Do you remember the name of the fucking Browns coach with the mustache?
I don't remember, but you made a tweet about it.
And every time he and his stomach would move, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is the greatest coach ever." He's the worst coach I've ever fucking had. I can't remember his goddamn name right now, and it might be CTE related, but it also might just be because he was fucking terrible. But other than him, that motherfucker is the worst coach I've ever seen. Okay, he is terrible, and the players hated his ass, and they just couldn't get anything out of him. All we could get out of the guy was a good crawfish broil fucking recipe, right? So. God bless my guy Brian McGinnis, who's at Arizona State right now. But Casey and Jake walk up to me and they're like, "Yo, we're getting killed on this even TE game." So they're running TEs where the 3 technique is running up the B gap to the ear hole to tackle and like pushing the shit out of him. Mm-hmm. And then when the defensive end stops and he wraps around, it's not like a stand up and roll this way and roll this way. It's not a video game. So when he plays through the shoulder and he wraps back around and the 2 offensive linemen split, the 3 technique just transfers to the quarterback and fucking eats lunch. So, yeah, Bob Wiley's his name. Thank you, Supreme Science 777. You're the man. That guy sucked. Bob Wiley, terrible coach. Funny, great mustache, fat as fuck, but terrible fucking coach. And I'm really sorry that I just fat shamed someone. I'm over 300 pounds. You can't fat shame someone when you're over 300. By the way, the war on political correctness is over. So back to what I was saying. So, they come up and I'm trying to tell them, okay, guard, you have to short set this. You have to short set and attack the shit out of it. Can you tell when it's happening? Number 1. Yes. All right. You know when it's going to happen. It's 3rd down. It's obvious. Short set, attack the fuck out of the shoulder and shelf him over. So you give the tackle an opportunity to actually learn, okay, or see it before he's getting killed. His aiming point's the ear hole, so we got to avoid that. Tackle, I want you to put a fucking bait hand up. So you're in hide hand while you're looking at your left tackle, you're looking at the defensive end. I put my right hand up to feel the 3 technique. Mm-hmm. Now, if you feel him with your hand, you know it's coming. You immediately down and you wait. So when you get shelved over, you're sitting there so you can hip. You just hip thrust your hip into the hip of the guard. He pops off and we're fucking rolling. So I'm trying to explain this, and McGinnis out of nowhere, dead sprint, runs up. Oh, you got to stop. If they see you coaching, it's a huge fine, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, that's actually a thing. I'm not trying to get them in trouble. But why do I have to do it?
True.
I'm not the O-line coach. I'm there to help.
Yeah.
I'm there to watch. So that's kind of my point is if you want your players to respect you, you've got to go coach the shit out of them. You can't just stand there and fucking hold the clipboard. And clipboard coaches are rampant. They're everywhere. But Phil Loadholt, he ain't one of them. That's an ex-player with a ton of pride that he's got his first offensive line job with the great Deion Sanders. He's got a really good fucking quarterback and elite skill players to work with. They want to run the football more. And he has been given the keys to the fucking tank and say, hey, clear the fucking road, Phil. And he's, yes, sir. So I think that they can only get better, bro. I don't see how they can't.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear you. Let me ask you, about Phil Loadholt developing the camaraderie of this offensive line. I wanted to show you something.
Hold on a second.
Sorry.
Hold on a second. Go back to that real quick. All right. Look. Sorry. Infiltrator NY. Tank is one of the worst offensive linemen. Why do you keep defending him? He's trash. He did not have a good year last year. But he's not one of the worst offensive linemen I've ever seen. He started 50 games in his career. He's going to start for Oregon State next year. He worked his balls off all offseason to improve. I think it's very short-sighted to just assume that he's a bad player because he had a bad year. If he would have quit or listened to shit like this, yeah, he would be trash. But everybody struggles. Everybody fucking gets beat. At least he went to work and tried to fix it. I respect shit like that. So, yeah, you're goddamn right. I'm not defending him. I'm giving you my opinion as his coach. So, but at least you're giving me your opinion. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching and listening. I guarantee you he does a lot better at Oregon State playing for Devan. It wasn't a good fit for him. You can't just isolate him at left tackle last year. He wasn't big or strong enough to do it. And I think he will improve and CU will improve. I think it's a good fit for both.